us.
Richard, I appreciate you being flexible with us this morning with Hunter coming on with us at 8, but I am really excited because the recruiting ties to this. We always talk about Central Arkansas football and how it's been down relative to recent years. With these games continuing to be played in Little Rock against in-state schools, how pivotal is this going to be for continuing to grow high school football in Central Arkansas?
I think it helps a little bit. I'm not going to say it's going to be massively important to Little Rock area as far as the schools and continue to get better. But I just tend to think that the excitement of the game, if indeed it's not just a one game deal, it's a series and it's a yearly deal. I think it just adds to the excitement of football in the state in general. We're going to experience something that other states have experienced for a long, long time, and that's to have two in-state schools, and it'd be an instant rivalry, and it will be pretty intense, and it will get people excited about football, and it get kids excited about football.
Richard, when it comes to that football game, I know you ran a poll yesterday asking fans, what's your sense of how Arkansas fans are feeling about this announcement?
I think if you would have asked 20 years ago, the majority would probably have been against. But I think over the years, people have kind of warmed up to the idea, and I think you saw that yesterday in the poll that obviously it was unscientific and everything, but I think the last I looked at it, 60% or 60-something percent favored the game, and only about 15% were against it. And I think a larger percentage were unsure about it than being negative about it. So I think people are ready for it overall. I think you're still going to have some people that are not going to be convinced about it. But I really think after a few games, I think people will jump on board and realize, what it brings to the state as far as just the excitement and the intensity, it could possibly bring. I just, you think about it, the rivalries are usually produced by other teams beating the other team and things of that nature. Arkansas should rarely lose the game to Arkansas State, but for that one time that they do, oh my gosh, the next year Arkansas fans won't be able to wait for the next game the following year. So
what will happen? Will the Arkansas River flow backwards? Will the sun not rise in the east? What will happen if Arkansas State win? And I'll just say win because you play enough games enough times, there's going to be a cycle where it's going to happen. I think that's the conclusion a lot of people have come to by Arkansas playing UALR and playing UCA and other sports. And, baseball lost to Little Rock a couple of years ago. I think the baseball program's been just fine. I think people think it would be the end of the football program in Fayetteville if somehow you lost to Arkansas State. And I think we're understanding in other sports that's not exactly reality.
Well, I do think the sun will come up from the west, to be honest with you. Yeah. But, no, I mean, I'm with you. And I think you see with the Arkansas coaches, of all sports, that they're not against it. They're for it. You could tell that, like with Mike Neighbors, he obviously thinks it's long overdue. I think Coach Pittman, Coach Van Horn. It's what everybody else has done over the years, and I understand the reasoning why it hadn't happened for the longest, to a certain extent. But I think that reasoning has passed, and I think we're obviously going to see it more in the future.
I know we're 2025 before this game is played, so we got a long ways to go before it actually gets here. But would this series, with this rivalry, with this relationship between these two schools be better served if it was in all the major sports? Because we haven't seen Arkansas State on the men's basketball schedule. Would we be better off if, A-State and Arkansas maybe played it in Little Rock for baseball, or they came to Fayetteville to bomb Walker? Would this blossom and grow into something faster, Richard, if this was a multi-sport series, meaning that, hey, in every men's basketball, baseball, and football, we're going to see Arkansas State on the schedule?
Yeah, and I think this is just the process. It's just like the process started really when Arkansas started playing ULR and UAPB in baseball, and I think this is just the natural progression to get to that point. And I think again, I just didn't think the majority of people were ready for it.
Well, there's been a lot of talk and some rumbling. A-State had no interest in playing Arkansas basketball this year when they had a chance. So my point is, A-State can't pick and choose when and where they want to play. I think that this series and this air quotes rivalry that has yet to blossom into anything might be fertilized. It might grow faster if we as fans on both sides saw it happen more frequently with other sports being involved.
No, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Richard Davenport with us here on the Morning Rush. Richard, you talked about joking the sun's not going to come up if Arkansas loses the game in 2025. Since you are the recruiting guy, I wonder how Arkansas fans and the coaching staff would react if a kid, because I don't know, you got a better knowledge of this. Has there ever been an Arkansas kid that's had an offer to both Arkansas and Arkansas State and chosen the Red Wolves? Because I wonder on the recruiting side of things, what happens if a kid elects to go to Jonesboro instead of Fayetteville, and how that reaction comes about?
I think when things were all equal and there wasn't, I think there was a running back, and there was a running back from Osceola. Last name's James, and I know some people were going, "Oh, y'all, they remember the name and they know who I'm talking about." But I think it was back in the '80s. But he was a running back, and he went to Arkansas State, and I just can't remember the first name. But anyway, I think that was a situation that he wasn't able to attend the University of Arkansas for various reasons, I think. But that's the only one that I can think of off the top of my head. For the most part, if you have a chance to play in the SEC versus the Sun Belt, you're going to the SEC, and I don't ever foresee Arkansas State. They may get a kid here or there once in a great while that maybe Arkansas wanted for various reasons, but common sense will tell you that the vast majority, if not, the largest percentage possible, would end up going to Arkansas.
If tickets went on sale today for this game in 2025, and let's just put a price, $75 a seat, War Memorial Stadium, how many of those do you think would sell today, guys? Well, I think there's some excitement. Would you sell out the stadium if they went on sale February 10th and first come, first serve? How many of those 53,000 would you sell?
In a non-COVID world?
Yeah, well, if we're still in a COVID world in 2025, this football game is the least of our
that game's going to sell out.
Right. I'm just saying if you put tickets on sale today, how many would sell?
Yeah, how fast?
How fast would you sell that game out in 5 days, 3 days, 2? I would
less than a week.
That's the real gauge of fan excitement, right? Can you sell all the tickets? I agree it will sell out, but they're not going to do that. But Richard, I think if you put 53,000 seats out there today and you just put $75 on it, there's 25,000 Arkansans that would buy 2 tickets each.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. What I think that the allotment for Arkansas State will be 10,000. Did I read that right, or did I think I just?
Hunter got asked about that yesterday, RD, and he was very. He said it would be, what did he say? The allotment would be both money would be divvied out like a typical Sun Belt school. Mm-hmm. So I don't know the numbers on that, but
probably 2,000 or 3,000 maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Because normally in Fayetteville, the visitors in an SEC game get 7,500. Well, I don't, and I think, and they do in Little Rock as well, but that's an SEC deal.
Richard, one of the parts of this contract is that the Missouri game that was scheduled to be played in War Memorial Stadium this year is now going to Fayetteville. How important is getting another game in Donald W. for recruiting this season?
Now, you talked about the impact on recruiting earlier. That's the impact on recruiting because, with Arkansas going to Dallas for Arlington for the Texas A&M game and then playing in Little Rock, those are two opportunities that they normally would have if they had those games in Fayetteville to host kids. That is a must. Most other schools don't have that problem where they have two games away from campus. Those are just two more opportunities that other schools have to host kids on official visits that Arkansas can't. And sometimes in a situation like that, a kid may, especially a highly recruited kid, he may be down to his last official visit. He already has his four other official visits planned out, and he's going, okay, I can go to I have this date open. Well, Arkansas's in Little Rock, and they can't host. That has happened. I know with at least one kid that when Arkansas was in Little Rock, a highly recruited kid wanted to visit Arkansas officially, and he had one date in mind, and that was the only time that he could come, and they were in Little Rock. It's huge. It's something that obviously Coach Pittman addressed to Hunter, and it's something that you have to have, especially late in the season when you're probably most of your recruiting class is probably on board, but you're still trying to fill out those final few spots. That game could potentially help sway some kids your direction if you're able to get them on campus.
Another tentacle of this story is that was part of the reporting from yesterday is the Arkansas A&M series seems to be ending in Arlington after 2024. So there'll be two more. 18 of the next 20 SEC games will be played in Fayetteville. The other two are playing A&M in Arlington. You talk about the ability to host on campus. That will add games back to Fayetteville. How big a deal, in your opinion, is it for Arkansas to play in Arlington from a recruiting standpoint for student athletes? Is playing in Arlington, playing in Cowboy Stadium, something Arkansas needs to find an avenue to do with another opponent and on the non-conference schedule, or are they better served to have that extra game on campus in Fayetteville?
Have that game on campus in Fayetteville. Occasionally, obviously, I think it would be good to play in Arlington occasionally, but I don't think that that's something that you need to do on a regular basis. I understand the reasoning at first for it. That's the palace, or was the palace of football stadiums, and it was very attractive to play there. But I just tend to think that extra games in Fayetteville are more important than anything in Arlington.
Richard, appreciate your time this morning. Thanks again for adjusting in. We'll talk normal time next week at 8 o'clock, buddy.
All right, guys. Take care. Have a good weekend.